Wherever you are, I'm Dr. Ruth Anderson here with Enlightened World Network. It is our honor to bring you a meditation every day of the year. And today our guest meditator is Harold Becker. We're so pleased to have Harold here with us. And Harold is the founder and president of the nonprofit, The Love Foundation. And their goal is to inspire people to love unconditionally. So Harold is going to share with us a meditation today. We're going to learn a little bit about love here. So Harold, thank you so much for being here.
It's absolutely a pleasure and honor. I enjoy every chance I get to do one of these meditations with the Enlightened World Network. Yeah. You're all a great group, and we wholly, completely support the dedication of this daily meditation that you offer for everybody.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, you may have the floor. Just guide us where you're feeling led.
Well, as you mentioned, the Love Foundation and our main focus has really been my personal focus, no surprise there, about unconditional love. So in my perspective and my understanding, the love is already within. And that's really where I'd like to guide the audience today, just in a brief little moment of time, to go back to our inner sanctuary and to just go back to that core love that we already are, and then allow from that standpoint it to expand out into our world. Because I think the world, as it always is, tends to attract our attention, and we look outwards so much that we often forget that it's important to take time out for ourselves. And of course, you guys are a wonderful reminder of that on a daily basis. So again, appreciation for all you do. So with that, if we can, just everyone that is joining in, recognize that we are all in this together. We're connected, interconnected, interdependent, and a source of love individually and as a group. So we've offered ourselves this moment and this opportunity to go then to our inner sanctuary, to our inner beingness. And I invite you to begin to draw your attention from the outer to the inner. Begin by taking some deep breaths so that we can focus more on our physical presence. And as we focus more on our breath, we begin to breathe deeper. We begin to notice our attention is drawing ourselves within our own personal body, the source of all good things. Everything is happening right here inside us. All the really good stuff, the juicy stuff, the delicious stuff is happening right here within us. As we gently and more naturally begin to relax, allow our senses to slow down, allow our chatter to slow down, allow ourselves to deepen that connection where our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies all align in that perfect oneness. And there might be the odd stray thoughts still rolling around, perhaps a few noises. We just keep letting those go. We begin to realize that we carry a lot of our daily outer experiences along for the ride. And this is a moment for us to let some of that go. We're giving ourselves the opportunity to be just with ourselves, our wholeness, our oneness, our beingness. And I invite you with each breath to go a little deeper, a little bit more awareness of the stillness, the quietness, the rhythm of the breath that is natural and complete, the cycling of the body as it does its brilliant work all day, every day. Stillness now of the mind. And in the stillness of the mind, we begin to open the heart, the very center of our being. With the physical heart and the spiritual heart, for they're one. The heart of our being, the heart of our intuition, the heart of our divinity, the heart of our connection, the heart of our unity, the heart of our compassion, the heart of our kindness, the heart of our peace. Just be aware of the center of your being and all the systems of the body cooperating, collaborating, connecting, sharing. As you go deeper within, you start to realize your body notices that you're noticing. The systems are realizing that you're aware of this physical body and of this emotional body and of this mental body and that overall spirit that connects it all. And as your body systems realize that you're paying attention, that you're noticing, you sing out a cheer for the acknowledgement. They are part of this journey. All is part of this journey. I invite you to go even deeper within the systems, down to the cellular level. Trillions of cells working in collaboration, in connection, in information, and in harmony, always together, working to create this corporeal body that we walk around in, to give function to our spiritual essence that walks upon this planet at this time. And on the cellular level, we have trillions of cells doing trillions of things as a blessing to us, not as a miracle. It's just simply a collaborative blessing, working with us in perfect harmony, perfect time, perfect relationship. Trillions of cells doing trillions of things, the magic and the miracle of love, always present. And let us go even a little deeper to that original cell that had the wisdom, had the map, had the DNA. The original cell that became 2, the 2 that became 4, the 4 that became 8, the 8 that became 16, the 16 that eventually became the trillion, became the body systems, became the support mechanism for this corporeal being that we walk on this planet with. Let us just show a moment of appreciation and acknowledgement for all these physical manifestations of cells and systems do for us all day, every day, from breathing to the rhythms of the heart, to the pleasures of the senses. We're all part of this one grand, interconnected, interdependent reality. Let us go even deeper to the atomic level, where the electrons flow around the neutron, protons interact, the cycles, the distance between each of these, as if each atom is its own galaxy. So we realize that there's such vast space between the particles that make up the cells, that make up the body, that make up this experience, are driven by even a deeper wisdom, a vibrational character, an intention, an idea, an imagination, a potential. This becomes the core essence, the intangible, tangible form of love. As we realize this core essence of our being, this loving essence that unites and vibrates with light and love throughout all of our being, we realize this is our core essence, this vibration of love, this intangible, tangible. In our corporeal body, we can feel it and sense it. We know love. We have always known love. we will forever know love, because that is who we are. This magnificence that manifests as a body, as a personality, as a mind, as a corporeal being walking upon the planet, begins from this cosmic soup. The galaxies of our own atomic structure, mirrored by the galaxies in our outer world, billions of galaxies with billions of stars, billions of points of light, and that all united in perfect harmony, in perfect collaboration, no matter how far the mind can stretch in time-space reality, no matter how much we can see galaxy upon galaxy. Everything is connected and united in this one vibration of love that permeates all existence. It is pure potential, unmanifested potential, and yet it allows us to take this core vibrational energy and place our own personal attention upon it. And with intention, we can take these formless forms and we can begin to cast our own vibrational qualities upon it. We can expand the love. We can expand the qualities of love. We can expand the understanding and interpretation and perspective of love, all within our own system, within our own beingness. And yet every intention is instantly connected to the whole. From our own atomic structure to the galaxies upon galaxies, everything is known, everything is connected. And with our own personal attention, we are the center of our own being. We are the center of our own galaxies of galaxies. And with our own perspective on our outer world, we are the center of our own universe. Everything good happens within. And everything good known within becomes a manifestation without that is also imbued with that same goodness. And when you know we are love through and through, then our intention is placed upon our attention, and we imbue all we think and feel with this core knowing of love. Pure, unconditional, limitless, infinite, eternal love. We know it, we feel it, we understand it. It's always there, has never left. Will never leave, cannot leave, because it is who we are. As we understand this love, we begin to imbue this love through our atomic structure, acknowledging all the particles manifest, connected with this vibration, now vibrate with this love, with this core essence. And as we move from the atomic structure and see these trillions of atoms making up a single cell, we imbue the atomic structure into the cell with the same love. And now the cell vibrates in pure love. And as the cell splits and grows, comes and goes, it too adds this vibration of love into the map of potential. As the cells gather into structures, into systems, they imbue one another with this love. Everything lightens and brightens. The cells become healthy, alive, and thriving because they are now imbued with the core essence of who we are. As these cells become systems, these systems become thriving systems within our own bodies. As these systems collaborate and cooperate and harmonize with one another, they bring strength and vitality into our corporeal beingness. And as we expand this love, each of our systems become one working harmonious system of a corporeal body imbued with love, so that we begin to experience through our main senses the sensation of love. We permeate our heart essence through the touch, through the feeling, through the smell, through the hearing, through the tasting. Everything becomes alive and dynamic because we're coming from the core essence of our love. As we expand through, our mind begins to be permeated with the same love, because it too has systems, and these systems at their core essence, at the atomic level and the cellular level, are now being imbued with love. And the mind is expanding to open into greater, pure potentials, futures yet to be created. And our heart becomes the love dominant vibration in the mind, and the mind becomes the cooperative, harmonious, collaborative aspect of our beingness, that which directs us with all of our senses, interprets with all of our senses, but now interprets with love. And as we begin to feel into our world, we realize that everything that has become now is intention that is now past. And everything that can become now is our imagination imbued with this love, which too will become our past. And yet, as we embark forward in our lives, expanding in all directions with this love, our future is now being imbued with this love, and everything is connected. Everywhere we go, as we imbue love through our own corporeal body, through our own systems, through our own mind, through our own heart, through our own intention, and through our own imagination, we become a beacon, a radiating lighthouse of the same love. And everywhere we go, our light simply shines. And as it shines, others can pick upon it and see their own light reflected back to them. And they too can go within into their inner sanctuary and reconnect to their core love and their core essence and become their own radiating beacon. And as each of us radiate this core essence of our own pure love, our divine love, our eternal love, our infinite love, our illuminating love, our compassionate love, our kindness, our peacefulness, our joy, so too do we raise the vibration of the potential of our outer world. And as we radiate simply and purely the knowing of the love we are, we simply strike the light and allow others the same opportunity to remember who they are. And as we do this, one by one, our systems begin to become imbued with the same light, with the same love. Just as the atomic structure and the cells and the systems of our body, so too do we begin to create and form new systems and new opportunities to work harmoniously with each other, collaboratively with each other, and more importantly, connected to the core essence of this beautiful planet we call home, which already understands harmony, already works in collaboration, already cooperates with each of its kingdoms. And now we come with our own light to align and work in harmony with these kingdoms of this planet. And as our light spreads across the planet, we become one with the whole system of Earth. All is connected, all is harmonious, all is pure and perfect love. And as our own planet begins to shine within our own solar system, it too begins to radiate as a beacon unto our solar system, where all the other planets see the reflection of potential of the light and love that we are. Our own star, our own sun begins to harmonize with the light and love that we are. And as our solar system harmonizes with the light and love that we are emanating from our own beingness, so too do we begin to harmonize with the galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy. And as we become a beacon of a galaxy, our galaxy begins to radiate, touching and shining all towards all the other galaxies throughout the cosmos. Such is the power each of us wields at any one moment. This core essence of love that we are, always have been, always will be. As we align with this love, we intend with this love, we imagine with this love, we radiate with this love, we become this love, both inner and outer. As we expand forward, we realize all that has been, and all that yet will be is now related to our own choice. For every thought and feeling creates a reality, and every thought and feeling infused with love creates an opportunity to manifest in love. Everything that has come to this point brought us to this point so that we could see the love that we are. Remember that we are love. All has been perfect in its presentation because it is who we were when we were, and now we are who we are. And who we can become is pure potential. And it's based on the choice of each and every one of us, moment by moment, day by day, year by year, lifetime by lifetime, planet by planet, galaxy by galaxy, where it's all connected. Always has been, always will be. And yet, for us in this moment, we realize we are the center of our own universe, and the choices we make touch life everywhere. Such is the power we wield every moment of every day. And it all begins with a simple understanding of love. To simply embrace and align in the fullness, in the recognition that this pure love has no polarity, has no duality, has no judgment. It embodies all, it embraces all, it accepts all, it includes all, for it is all, always has been, always will be. We know this love, we touch upon it all the time. And yet when we allow ourselves to be too focused on the outer, we will never disconnect from the love. We simply, for a while, temporarily, fall asleep to the love that we are. And yet here we are, this moment, choosing to remember the love that we are. Our cells rejoice, our atomic structure vibrates in this core essence of love. Our emotions are calm and serene in the knowingness that all is well. Our mind cooperates with us by taking our thoughts and feelings of love and helping us to manifest into our reality sensory experiences that reflect back to us the love. So everything we taste, everything we touch, everything we hear, everything we feel, everything we smell is now imbued with this pure love. That's the cooperation of all the systems. And it's all based upon our own personal intention. We get to choose the experience we experience. We get to choose the responses to experiences we put into motion. And we get to choose an imagination point to create something different in the next moment. Such is the power we wield every moment of every day. Pure love always waits, quiescent as pure potential. We simply choose where we wish to place our attention and intention. And we get to imbue our reality with all the love we are. From this inner sanctuary, we connect to the breath. For it is the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath, the rhythms of the cycles upon cycles, that brings us back into our physical body. The breath will always connect us to the love, because it brings us into the one point where our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies are all united in this time space. So whenever we wish to return to the love, we simply take a deep breath, and there we are. And with each breath, we begin to feel the vibration of our atomic structure within each cell. With each breath, we begin to feel the cellular structures that make up the systems working in complete harmony and collaboration and cooperation and in love with all the other systems, the trillions upon trillions of cells doing trillions of things, making up this corporeal body. With each breath, we feel the love that is in our heart, in the center of our being. With each breath, we feel our thoughts and feelings radiating this core essence of love. With each breath, we feel our presence, the totality of our being, right here, right now. Each breath, we come back into this world renewed, rejuvenated, vitalized by the love we are, permeating every aspect of our existence. We come back in as a radiating beacon of this love that always has been, always will be. With each breath, we feel more of our corporeal beingness in this reality. We feel the senses of where we are coming alive again, but this time imbued with love, so that our days coming before us will now infuse love in all we do. As we bring ourselves more back into this reality, and gently and easily come back into this time space, and gratitude and appreciation of all that has been and all that will be. Come back into this time space reality with our core essence of love. I welcome you, come back into wherever you are.
Whew, Harold, thank you. Wow. So many of the principles of Enlightened World Network were just put so succinctly into 25 minutes. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. You talked about the intention and attention.
Yes.
Focusing on love. Any thoughts on how we can do that on a day-to-day basis?
As I've said for probably 30 decades, practice, practice, practice. No, it really is. We have to realize that we are the center of our universe when it comes to the totality of what we're experiencing. And when we understand that where we place our attention is a paramount consideration, because when we realize that we can place our attention on something other than what is immediately before us, we can see beyond it, and we can go forward with a different intention. We always have the opportunity to change in every moment. And momentum is strong in all of us. It's a necessary part of the process of us being on the planet is momentums. We are witnessing momentums and structures being reevaluated and connected and restarted, and where we have no control over anything outside of ourselves, we do have the ability to choose our thoughts and the feelings, our attention, and where we place it. And when we have, and particularly in my instance, I chose many many moons ago the idea that I was going to make love as an intention. I simply wanted to explore what love meant, because it seemed to be the one core message that has been available as a timeless truth upon this planet through every cultural setup, every religious setup. So for me, I just thought, well, let's go explore love. So it has always been a very pragmatic and practical application for me. And with that understanding of a loving intention, day after day, moment after moment, year after year, my understanding of my presence of love just simply deepens. And I realize that I can choose, as it were, to be happy or not happy. That's a choice. And I've long ago stepped on a pathway of joy, and even more recently expanded that to just simply realize that if I'm happy, I am the greatest influence I can be anywhere I'm at, which means I get to place my attention upon happiness, and I get to have an intention as a momentum that I simply wish to be happy. So that intention and attention is going to be unique and individual, because everyone's going to have their own momentums. A breath has always been my guiding post, because simply remembering to take a deep breath under the most excruciating and extreme circumstances is the one way I can connect back physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And that way I can become present in this moment, because what we're kind of speaking of is a lot of people live in the past or they live in the future. Mm-hmm. And both of those places is more frequently out of the state of disconnect, and therefore will breed more doubt and fear. And a lot of people concern themselves about fear because it's a common descriptive that we use, but I have in fact look at it even deeper, that fear is simply a product of doubt, and doubt is simply a product of disconnect from our core essence. The more we can maintain that alignment with our core essence, there is no doubt, and therefore there is no fear. So again, my goal has always been connect with the love, because that's something we all understand on some level. It's not something we seek to experience in the outer, it's something we are, and then it reflects back to us. So we're reversing the trends right now. We've always been told, go outside for love, and it's not there. Right. It's very conditional. But when we come into that core essence of pure self-acceptance, pure acknowledgement and alignment, then everything springs forth from that. It's the simple answer that everybody seeks. And yet most people think that it has to be more difficult because we're trained in difficulty. And yet the pure essence of love, it has been the main message of any tradition or culture or messenger or whatever, because when you do tap into it, it is the one that makes the most sense, because it is who we are. And therefore, there's no more seeking, it's simply being.
You know, I think it's interesting, Harold. I think everybody uses the term love, and I think to everybody, it probably means something a little different, although our souls 100% know what it means. In your work with the Love Foundation, do you have a working definition of the word love?
I came up with probably the most unconventional definition of love already in the early 90s when I started to embark upon this. And it was a journey of looking at all the major religions and say, well, what's the essence? Because I wasn't really brought up that way. So I didn't need that. But clearly it's a major prominent position on the planet. 5 major religions with probably 4/5 of the population embodying some variation thereof. So when I started to look at that, I came up with this core essence that love seemed to be the only message that ever was. There was no other real message. It was core essence of love. So I said, expand on that. And then I came across, well, that love must be a divine love, but let's call it an unconditional love, because that was, again, more practical and easy for me to understand. So I took those 2 words one day and I simply said, what do they mean? So I started with love, and it was, today it's still this way. We use love as an adjective, as an adverb, as a verb, as a noun. Yep. We love our houses, we love our careers, we love our family, we love life. It's really in many ways become kind of a cast off because we don't really understand what that love essence is. When I added the unconditional love, the unconditional to the love, I realized that captures people's attention. When I say unconditional love, something kind of stops them in that moment. They understand. They could translate it as agape love, as divine love, as spiritual love, as God love, as dog love. It's just all out there. But unconditional love is really kind of understood for all of us in the human experience. So I thought, well, the two words together mean something. If I were to just say, what is love for me? It's a way of being.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense to me because, again, this is, several decades ago, I thought, well, love to me is so much more than just a descriptive word. There's deeper meaning to it. When I added the word unconditional, what does unconditional mean? It's unlimited. There's no limits to it. So to me, my unconventional definition for unconditional love is an unlimited way of being, which means in this now moment, and of course, this is predicated on an understanding that this is the only moment we have.
Right.
The past is a memory, the future is our imagination.
Right.
Then I realize in this moment, all things are possible. And from a human perspective, that isn't always fully understood, but on a soul level, we absolutely understand that. We have created so much pure potential just in the last 100 years that would be beyond belief from 200 or 300 years ago. Well, what we can do in the next 50 years could be quantum beyond what we've done in the last 100 years, because we might find ourselves in complete spontaneous remission and healing, more so than we do right now. It's out there, but as people begin to realize that all things are possible and that they can come into this now moment, taking that breath, that good breath, realizing physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, they're right here. You relax and release all of the momentum of judgment and doubt, fear, worry, concern, guilt, shame, embarrassment, all those things that we tend to carry with us, and you become more of a pure essence. And in that moment, anything is possible. And we literally can change our realities in this moment by changing our perspective. The difference I'm suggesting is that if we change our perspective to pure love, then that pure love will always harmonize, will always align, will always collaborate, will always cooperate. Our monkey mind, our personalities, we have a tendency in this now moment that if we don't like something, we want to imagine something of its opposite. Well, that isn't necessarily coming from love. That's just our perspective that we want something different. Whereas when we come into the present moment and we do literally, to mirror your words, become an observer of our own life. We are both the observer and the participant. That places us in a completely different position of reality. And from that standpoint, that pure potential, that ideas that we have never thought of can permeate. If all we look at is problems, we're going to create more problems. If we open up to pure potential, then solutions that we could have never dreamed of are able to come through into our intuition, into our imagination, and capture our attention. And then we can go forward with that kind of forward movement with fresh perspectives, fresh ideas. And that is happening and scaling with even the young ones that are coming on the planet, because they don't come in with the same filters that we've had. They're recognizing their potential more so than we did. And yet all of us are waking up to our potential. And that potential isn't about how much we accumulate, it's how much we can become an unlimited way of being. That's why I happen to like that particular definition.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Harold, can you share with us what is the work of the Love Foundation and what are you working on these days?
Love Foundation is a joy of love, not a labor of love, but it is one of our passions. We created the nonprofit in 2000, so this is our 22nd year. Wow. Which is remarkable as a nonprofit. Starting it out with simply, as you mentioned, inspiring people to love unconditionally, which exactly how do you do that in a mainstream, universal, collaborative, global way? First couple of 2-3 years, we were kind of like how do we do this? We just broadcast messages of love. In late 2003, I came up with the idea in the middle of the night for Global Love Day each May 1st, and woke up with it, made sense to me, talked about it with my husband, went forward, decided, went to the board at the beginning of the week. Everybody loved the idea. And so we launched the first Global Love Day for May 1st, 2004. And with no real idea of how to do this, this is when websites were just coming on board, no social media. So we started to go out worldwide because we didn't see ourselves as grassroots. And we started just simply put together this idea of Global Love Day as love begins with me and a celebration of our humanity. First one came out, we went out to states, to mayors, governors, councils, and said, hey, would you do a proclamation? Typically as a nonprofit, I'd be fortunate to get my local city, especially as an unknown. That first year, we got 12 proclamations. The very first one, we were in Tampa, Florida at the time, and the first one came from Salt Lake City. Rocky Anderson issued one. We had 12 the first year. Fast forward, we're now in our 19th year of celebrating our humanity. We have over 800 proclamations from 35 governors, over 250 cities, mayors' councils, Canada, England, even one from the Dalai Lama, simply by this core vision, this kind of universal, timeless truth that we're all interconnected, interdependent, that love begins with self-acceptance, forgiveness, that through compassion, we celebrate diversity. These are the core 6 tenets that make up Global Love Day. And we have no political agenda or clout. We have no religious agenda or clout. We simply have put this out every year, and the responses have been remarkable. People have put together concerts, gatherings, yoga activities. People have gone off and meditated in the mountains, gone on hikes, given out hugs. I mean, just gone and cleaned up hospitals and daycare centers. And what I'm speaking of is global. I'm not speaking of the United States. This is a movement that we started. It is actually on Wikipedia as a minor holiday. So we're actually an official holiday. But we simply put out this timeless truth, what we've been sharing today, and it resonates across all cultures, across all nations, all divides. Global Love Day has been kind of our core program. We also do an art essay poetry invitational that relates to it. And then we have 8 other programs. We're all across social media with, we have a Loving Earth counterpart, which acknowledges the environment, but every one of our programs embodies the same core essence. Does it inspire people to love unconditionally? And as a result, we've connected with people. We have like 60 either state or country volunteers that represent us in their own nation. One of our biggest surprises the very first year was how many African nations responded. So we have quite a contingency in the African nations, Middle East. I mean, in fact, in our mailing list, we are more global than we are American-centric or even Western-centric, because we would have assumed that a lot of our work would just be picked up by English-speaking nations, Europe and America, Australia. Quite the contrary. We are really recognized, all across the world with this core message. And our greatest compliment is when people find us, because we don't advertise, we don't broadcast. We simply share what we share and kind of a universal message. We do a daily, I do a daily one-line meme that is some interpretation of love. We actually have an app for Apple and iOS, so you can go pull up these. We offer that for free. But the idea is just to keep reminding people of their core essence. So we're not trying to get anybody to get it. We don't need anybody to pick up on our definition. We don't really have one. Clearly, unconditional love as an unlimited way of being is very broad. And yet, if you understand it, it makes all the sense in the world.
Right.
And when people find us, the biggest compliment is they feel like they've found home. So when they land upon our website, it's like we speak a universal language that they don't necessarily have within their own cultures and communities. And it's interesting because our mixture, we have Christian minorities and Muslim majority countries. We have Muslim minorities and Christian majority countries. we have agnostics, we have scientists, we have atheists, we have, new age, no age. I mean, it's just really such a broad scattering of spectrum of people, but they're every corner of the world. And this is why I enjoy what has come into allowing an imaginative idea drop in, because the Love Foundation came as an imaginative idea. So did Global Love Day. And both of those were not something I set out to do, but they were the natural next step. And I can say, particularly with the Love Foundation, 22 years later, it's been an amazing journey, because I get the privilege of every day waking up not knowing who's going to cross my path that is somewhere in the world that is and has awakened to their own core essence of love. And then all of a sudden the world isn't so big. It's like, here we are, there we are, here I am, there I am. And we realize that there are a lot of people that are understanding that there's so much more, and they understand the core essence of unity. So they can still abide by their religion or their culture or their nation, but they understand that universal nature of inclusiveness, acceptance, collaboration, cooperation. That's a really fun place to be able to work from, because my platform is focused on love. So I get to experience love. That's a joy.
Over and over again, right?
Yeah, over and over again.
That's,
It becomes the reflection. You put it out and it comes back. And it's fascinating to see that something we created, and we fully created the Love Foundation to go away someday. We're a stepping stone. So once our work is completed and people get it in a mainstream way, then we can just ravel up and go away. I do think at times, like, what would have happened had I not actually acted upon that initial impulse, that initial idea, either for the Love Foundation or Global Love Day. And when I pulled that thread and I think about, we have to go out, for example, with proclamations every year again. And it's been my personal project, because they don't do them repetitively. And every year it's a different group. That's probably some 50,000 invitations that have gone out over 19 years, which means some 100,000 people have been touched by an invitation that says, let's celebrate our humanity. Let's remember love begins with me. Here are the core essences. This is who we are at our essence, but on what would other people would look at as a political level or on a government level, well, they're the same beings that I am.
sure.
They're in places of position doing what they do. And even in an American-centric way, I did a little test one day, because we're primarily a two-party system in America at the moment. And it's about 50-50 about who has created proclamations. And it has been a fascinating journey to recognize that this core message, this timeless message of love, does touch every soul everywhere. How we have momentum with belief systems in other ways, that's our own doing. And that's our own opportunity. So we kind of go politically blind into these things and say, it's not about this, it's about the deeper level. And the essence of love does that. And you understand this probably more than anybody, that when you come from love, you see beyond the personality and you touch right into the soul, and you start to collaborate in a harmonious way with everybody you contact. It's such an extraordinarily different way to live. And yet we look as normal as everyday people because we're interacting with normal everyday people, and we're not separating ourselves. We don't have 7 steps to this. We don't go on a retreat, once a week and say, oh, here's a perfect hour. No, this is all day, every day, 7/24, and it's global. And if anything, that's what my consciousness, I've become very globally aware. I so appreciated you saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because we have board members on the Love Foundation that range from Malaysia to England. So our board meetings are quite interesting, because one has to get up the next day and one has to stay up late. But because of it, I'm very aware of Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere. You just take on a much, life is so much more expansive and interesting, because of pure potential, anything can happen. And then all the so-called coincidences, they become the norm, because all the synchronicities, that's what life becomes, because it's no longer a matter of luck. It's because we're radiating love, and love will respond and bring about just experiences that more often than not, we walk around and say, like, you couldn't make this stuff up, because there's no way I could make those 2 people show up at this moment. and that, like, split second in any direction, and that moment wouldn't have happened. Well, that's happening whether we're aware of it or not. Every single experience that's coming to us is a reflection of our thoughts and feelings, which was my pivot moment. When I realized I could change my thoughts and feelings, I could expand them, everything else began to cascade. And of course, love was the driving factor.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So, Harold, how do people find you if they want to know more about the Love Foundation and more about Global Love Day? How do they find you?
Intuition. We're very easy to find. We're thelovefoundation.com is our main website. globalloveday.org is the sister site that explains all of Global Love Day. We are on Facebook with, again, all of these same, the Global Love Day is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. The Love Foundation is on all of those. You can do any kind of, we've done this enough that if you put in Global Love Day actually, interestingly enough, curious little side note is if you actually put in unconditional love, where there are perhaps millions of pastors, priests, ministers, rabbis, all kinds of people that should have as a core message of love, we're probably going to be on page 1, 2, or 3 on a Google search, because we're, for 22 years, we've just been beating the drum of unconditional love. And we are really a global leading resource now for that. So we are quite easy to find. Google us or find us on any of the websites. And I welcome anybody to write me. I love getting feedback, and I love responding to questions or ideas, or we have so much to share amongst one another that just connecting with somebody else that understands love is like, that makes my job easier, because now there are 2 of us doing it, or 5 of us doing it, 5,000 of us doing it. Hopefully there'll be 8 billion of us doing it.
There we go.
Day after tomorrow, we'll have it all set.
There we go. Well, Harold, thank you so much for being here with us at Enlightened World Network. Really looking forward to figuring out how we can combine forces for May 1. So we will be in touch about that. But friends, thank you for joining us, whether it's live or after the fact. Every day can be Global Love Day. It doesn't have to just be on May 1st.
Absolutely.
So take good care, everyone. God bless. We'll see you.